Hey guys, welcome to Aquarius Rising Africa. And yes, Tom's coming on now, don't worry. But before so, I want to just give a great shout out to our sponsor for today's show, which is Spooky 2, the creators of the home Rife machines. And for those of you who haven't heard me rave about this machine before, it really is amazing. They create their own Rife machines, which you can use at home, and they come in different sizes for different conditions. So if you'd like to try it, you're welcome to check out their website on the caption below. Use my name to get a 5% discount. So we're just going to play the ad and then we'll be back with you in just a minute.
Hi all, this is my dog Cleo. She's 15 years old and she's a min pin. 2 years ago she broke her molar on an antler, and we had to get her dental surgery and we had to put her under. Everything went well in her surgery, but unfortunately afterwards the worst happened and she had a really negative effect from the anesthesia. Really bad. She couldn't digest anything. She started to become allergic to everything. She was gulping, reverse sneezing, basically throughout the entire day. We weren't sleeping. It was just this terrible nightmare. So I've known about Spooky for quite some time. In its earlier days, I was looking into Rife technology for my own benefit because I had a long history of autoimmune disorder, and I researched what was really helping people, and especially learning about energetic medicine. I decided to get a Rife machine, and Spooky popped up in my search just as the most affordable Rife machine. So this is the setup right here. We started her in June and it is now November. So that's how long it took. I also have her on immune system balance and healing and regeneration. Plus now we didn't take her to the vet to get more x-rays, but she's not making those hard gulps anymore. This is a miracle because it was every day since that surgery, and it helped. And it's a miracle. It is nothing short of a miracle. She's doing amazing. She's 15 and she is beautiful and vibrant again. And we can play rough, we can run, and she doesn't stop anymore in pain or sneezing and gulping. So obviously we recommend Spooky to anybody, to human and to animal. It really was the missing link in our regime, right? Good health to all.
Well, there's nothing quite like helping animals in the process. I have to say, I always get a warm feeling in my belly when I see that. So, for those of you interested as well, Spooky 2 will be doing a conference on the 11th and 12th of November. There is just the ticket with the details. You can check out their website, and you're still eligible for an early bird price, where you can meet the trainer, Jonathan Ellis, who will give you lots of information, or all the information basically that you need for Spooky 2 machine. So yeah, thank you so much. And then I bring on with me your lady's favorite, Althouse. You see, I had to give him a ta-da moment, girls. Don't you agree?
Aw. You guys are so cool. This is family. I was seeing what Steve was writing. It's definitely family.
Tom, as you can see, and I'm sure you've been watching the comments the last few minutes, it's really great to have you back. And I know our viewers are very happy to see you every Tuesday as well. Yeah. So welcome back, Tom. How has the week been?
Intense. I think some of us all together here watched me run my paces. on my site, and I tried to enforce that it would be safe and caring, and that only good people would be on it. And so I was definitely run through my paces, where I had to remove any kind of like ones that were causing problems. And then I found out that a lot of my friends had gone through the same treatment by these same parties, and then I realized it really was a tactic that's been employed. So I thought that's why this topic might be really good, to talk about tactics employed by
Yeah.
agents. Yeah.
I think it's so, I mean, last week, and I'm sure that a lot of our viewers watched the interview that I did with you and both Jesse as well, right? Last week, Tuesday. So if you guys didn't catch that show, I recommend that you do, because it really, it's at this stage, it's as if everything is just amping up, and it's done on such a subtle level. A lot of the time, it's really done on such a subtle level. But I think that also brings into kind of, I don't want to say alignment, but it kind of brings me to also, your story in the Matrix as well, and where all of this is, with all the subtleties going on at the moment as well. Because, gosh, you can imagine, I mean, we all feeling it, right? It's not just feeling it, what's going on, but we're seeing it as well. We are seeing what's happening in Israel. And that is real, guys. That is real. I mean, one of my very, very good friends here, they good friends of hers were at this DJ party in Israel. And they were there. It happened. And since then, 2 more of their DJ friends have passed away because of this attack. This is real. This is happening. And it's people that I know personally all the way in South Africa that this stuff is happening. So it's not just a psyop. People like to also say these things are psyops. And I think this is where we've got to be very careful, because there's so much going on. And as I say, not just with what we're feeling, maybe inside, a little bit anxious this morning and something's in the air. There are wars going on. There are natural disasters going on. It's like everything is reaching a type of a climax now. And we really have to be more aware than ever before. And I'm certainly not being a fearmonger. I really am not. I think we have to be logical. We've got to make sure we do have enough food stacked away. That doesn't mean your entire house now has to be stashed away with food and your kids are sleeping outside, right? We're not going to those extremes. But we're obviously taking care. We're making sure that we do have provision. We're making sure that we are planting our own veggies, our own food. We are looking at ways in which we can serve the community. We are looking at ways that we get to know each other better. These are all things we've got to reconnect, because they've gotten us to a point where we're so disconnected from our own spirit, our own soul, which means we disconnect from each other, because that's the next natural progression from that, right? Disconnection from self equates to disconnection to the world around me and those in it, right? So we become divided. And the minute we divide it, it's easier to conquer. So as long as we are connecting with ourselves and God, right, we are able to reconnect with each other. And that's where we're at right now. I truly feel that that's what we have to do. And we're going to see some interesting events take place. And I'm not talking on a global level. We're going to start seeing things around us in our communities, people, that you maybe didn't think was a good person. Suddenly that person steps out, and just suddenly is there. And never to judge a book by its cover, but practice discernment. We have to practice discernment so that we're not led by the nose ring by someone who's making us false promises. That's the whole thing. And yeah, Tara, pray and fast on Tuesdays. And we got to talk about the fast. In fact, my fast started 12 minutes ago. I fast nowadays from dusk on a Tuesday till dusk on a Wednesday, and it's a dry fast. So only while I'm talking will I take small sips of water during the time. But it's I did it last week for the first time, and it's a very, very, very interesting experience. I fast a lot, like with water fast. I'll do 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days sometimes. Those are the easy ones. Man, take your water away for a day. Oops. Sorry, I've been bantering on, Tom. Over to you.
No, I love it. I love hearing you talk. I could do the whole show like this. This is great. I mean, I'll just give my spirit to it. But yeah, it's interesting you say that about the fasting too, because I've adopted that also. And when I was back, when all this was going down with intellectual property freshly stolen, it was the honeypot wife was in place with the attorneys and everything. She made a very interesting comment near the end of her job. And what she said was, she said, you were supposed to die of cancer. And she didn't say it as a compassionate thing. And she said, but because you were fasting, it didn't happen. It was like she was upset. The job wasn't complete. And it was just the weirdest thing to hear, you know? And it was like, yeah, so there you go. Anyway, so yeah, so I've been.
I want to tell you, fasting is such a powerful thing. And I want to maybe just talk a little bit about that, because if you don't mind, are we good to yeah. And I know that we were talking about this last week as well. So that's what I mean, it was on my agenda to bring up for tonight anyway. If you know, there's a wonderful man, he's no longer on the earth plane, a South African guy called Lawrence van der Post. And he spent many, many years of his life with the Bushman people in South Africa. And as we know, the Bushman people are the First Nation people, right? And they have a saying that, or they have a way of saying that, you know, there's a little hunger and there's a great hunger. The little hunger is your belly, right? So you feed that little hunger with food. But the great hunger is the hunger for purpose. Because a man without purpose lives a very miserable life. Now, does that purpose mean you have to be rich and famous, or having to go to work 100,000 times a year just to bring in a buck? No. We think that might be what it is. But you see, so fasting for me is when you feel the little hunger, the hunger of the belly, right? And you then bypass that, you move through that, because then I understand, because fasting always needs to be done with a spiritual intention and always for the betterment of something greater than you, or something that is not only you. So for the spiritual betterment of humanity, or at a personal level, naturally, if you're trying to move through personal issues or something, or break, and it's very good for those. And there's lots of entities that are attached to us right now, guys and girls. Again, I don't want to be fear-mongering, but when we feel that, fasting is the one thing that can break that. I can tell you that for sure. I know that for myself. So when we then move beyond the little hunger and we fast and we pray, we then reach into the greater hunger, which is your desire for your purpose in your life. So fasting for me is to understand what my greater purpose in this moment is, right? So if God uses me as a conduit, as he uses each and every one of us as a conduit, right? So if me, the conduit, is not running smoothly, right? If this car is not serviced, right? If you want to look at that way, this vehicle, God can't use me. Then I'm always going to be in the repair shop, right? So when we clear our vehicle, the message from God is that much more powerful and that much clearer. And when we collectively do something like this, we collectively break these chains in the matrix when we all do it collectively. And I have to again, and I know I give Caleb Jade a lot of credit because I've been chatting to him for a while. And honestly, he's opened my eyes to so many of these things as well. You know, just through conversations, he's pretty much seen everything, the light and the dark of it. And for those of you guys, and I always say, if you haven't watched these shows, please do, because we've done 3 with him so far. And he's speaking about his life experience and his life journey and really gotten to the abyss, literally, and back out of it. And he's telling his tale. And this is part of what is the reason I do now a dry fast once a week, because, and I saw what it did last, and it really knocked me last Wednesday. For those of you who saw me on Jesse's show, I had eyes like a puppy, like this, like, whoa, I was completely, it was crazy, but so amazing, because the next morning I woke up with such clarity on the stuff I needed to. So it's, you dedicate that time to God and you allow yourself to be used as that vehicle for God. And the more of us who do that, we're going to awaken to the true gifts of the Spirit that we all have. And gift is something to give away. So as we discover our gifts, we give it away and we pass it on and we share our gifts. That's how we become more powerful. And fasting is an amazing way. I do, like, as well, I do my yoga workshops. I do yoga, sun salutations, 30 rounds of 36, 72, and 108 to break patterns and just get, you know, it's amazing. I was doing the sun salutation challenge a couple of months back, and really it was incredible to see how so many of the students in there were shifting as well. And we included a fast just after that. So to break, and that was a 3-day water fast. So stuff like that, you know, where you set your intention and you challenge yourself. You don't want to kill yourself. You don't want to hurt yourself, but you want to challenge yourself. You want to break through those boundaries little bit by little bit, by little bit, by little bit. And that's how we expand without going crazy, because some of this stuff can be very overwhelming. So we do it in a way that it's bite-sized chunks, right? That's how we do it.
Very good. Yeah, there's so many things too. I love hearing you explain all this. You're really shining right now. It's like you're very centered. You're very, not that you weren't before, but it's coming across very strong, very classy. I'm talking about classy a lot now. And it's like the thing that, you know, fasting does for me too is it causes me to take my eyes outwards, and I start thinking about other people, how they suffered, and it allows me to center and think of that. And then I think of the group call. It's like thinking of us as a group coming together and solving problems and working together and things like that. It really does take eyes off of self when you fast. For some reason, it's really cool. And it also allows us to get, you know, feel like we have dominion over what's happening, and it breaks us from that. If we get stuck into a control pattern where we feel like we're heading down a rat maze, it's like it breaks that for us. We are exercising our choice, our discipline, our control. We're seeing that we are holding the reins of where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And fasting does allow that. We're consciously.
You know, what it does, you know, and also what it's so powerful to do is that it also takes us to understanding our relationship with food. So many of us use food to numb our emotions. Hey, I'm putting my hand up to that. I don't necessarily eat a lot, but I will graze. There'll be days where I'll just nibble. And then I catch myself, I'm not hungry, but at a certain moment, then the next thing I realize I'm in the kitchen. I'm like, how did I just get here? It's like I time traveled, right? And then I realize at certain moments of stress for me, or certain moments of creative thinking, I'll get up and have food. And sometimes that's a good thing, because I will, but then it depends what I eat. So if I'm having a fruit or something that actually stimulates the creativity, that's a different thing. But if I'm just going to graze and snack and sweets and whatever, then I know. So for me, it's about also becoming conscious about your relationship with food, how we cover our emotions with food. And the minute we take our food away, we start seeing what emotions are stored behind our eating addictions, disorders, whatever it might be for us, right? And then that's when we go into the greater hunger, right? Our yearning to connect with the spirit, our spirit, really, at the end of the day, because that's where our answers lie. So we create addictions, we create bad habits when we don't have the answers within us. Then we feel we've got to pacify ourselves somehow. And very often that's with food, alcohol, any form of addiction, just to get the mind away from whatever we don't want to feel here. So fasting enables us to see that. So you want to be journaling, you want to be aware, you want to be praying, you want to be walking, you want to be in a space where you can be vulnerable, because you definitely are going to be vulnerable in those moments, especially if you've asked to have things revealed that have been hiding from you, because that's what we do, really, at the end of the day. We hide from ourselves all the time. So it's an amazing way. And also, what we're doing is we're exerting our will. So like on those days, I'll fast from social media, right? Or everything else. Maybe, me, it's usually social media, although I'll do work on social media, but I won't be scrolling or whatever. And it's amazing how much time we take up during that time. So it's being aware of where we spend our time, how we spend our time, how irritated we become, what irritates us, what is making us short-tempered, what's giving us a headache. And in so doing, we start developing a deeper relationship with ourselves and therefore God. Because Rumi has a beautiful saying. It says, I searched for God and I found only myself. I searched for myself and I found only God. Really, at the end of the day, that's who we are. We're all one with our beautiful creator.
It's interesting too. You sent me down a thought path where when I was at the deepest despair, when they really had me cornered and they had their play, all the people in my life were all the players. They do this. They position the attorneys, the counterpart wife, everything else. And their job is to put you in despair. At that time, I lost my sense of taste. And I think others could identify with this too, that that can happen in despair. You'll lose the ability to taste your food, or at least psychologically, it feels like you're losing your ability to taste the food. And one of the things I felt given to me was to start celebrating, even though I couldn't think of anything to celebrate, start celebrating mentally. And then things will fall in place that are worthy of celebrating. And so you can actually make your mind get into that celebrate the activity. And it works. It really does work. So no matter what's been put upon you, we can create that energy field of happiness and joy, no matter what we're going through. And you really can.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. And so I am grateful for the experience of having that despair and being put upon that way, because it taught me that we can always get out of that cell. We can always break free simply by choosing to be happy. And
Absolutely.
you let yourself know that, okay, I have no reasons for it right now when it happens, but I'm going to choose to do it. And it's almost like my soul is thanking me at that point for taking that path. And then things fall in place that are worth celebrating. It works. It really does. And I offer that to anybody, and others that have already done this. So it's part of the layer of thinking. But yeah.
It really is, and when we are able to just find the smallest reason. You know, the bank might be foreclosing on you now. You might be losing your car. Someone dear to you might have left the earth plane, you know, whatever it might be. When you take a walk and you just look at the trees, you look at the formation of the clouds, you know, we always say, look up, you know, look up and see what is there for you to see. Absorb the light, you know, the light is God. Absorb it, go for a walk, even if it is just around the block. Look at the flower, stroke a cat, take a moment with your pet. Look at a photograph of a time that was great with one of your kids or something. Conjure up that memory. What I do is I will look at something in my home, because most of the things in my home mean something. They come from someone, or I've collected them somewhere, right? So I'll look at that crystal, for example, that I have there. And I remember the time I was in Zambia and it was given to me. It just came out of the mine, in fact, and it was given to me to take care of by one of my clients there, because she knew that I could take care of it. She hated the mining, because with the mining, the copper mining, comes the amethyst crystals, right? So they blow these crystals into smithereens. And I remember going to her home, which was right in the middle of the African township. And she's a landscaper, made this beautiful garden. And all her neighbors had these beautiful gardens. So she was spreading her landscaping abilities. So that for me immediately brings up a really good memory, which brings up a good feeling, which then gives me the fuel for another good feeling, right? And soon that terrible feeling seems not so bad.
Right.
But when we tend to suck ourselves back in there again, oh my God, you see, I can't be happy because the bank has phoned me, or I can't be happy because I'm in debt. So the more we have that mindset, the more we create more of that for ourselves. So the more we choose to even enjoy anything else, it doesn't matter what else, a phone call with a friend, just get your fuel going in a good way. You'll start seeing how other things start improving in your life as well. Suddenly, you might get a job contract. Suddenly, your employer might increase your salary. Suddenly, you get new clients in. Something starts happening that issue is able to be solved. Doesn't have to be. What we tend to do is give too much focus to the negative, and in that way we grow it, because energy goes, or energy flows, where attention goes. We must always remember that, in positive or in negative, whatever you're giving the most attention to is what's going to be the most powerful.
Right. When we reclaim our film industry, we'll be able to have a very healing industry. And like we talked about, the library of memories, right? And each elderly person's memory is their most poignant moment. I think that's going to be something where people can go to heal. And also we're going to come up with ways to lift each other. And now that it's being taken out of the hands of those that have done the harm. I didn't mean to go lateral on you here, but it's what's on my heart is we realize they're on the run now. They're on the run. The main players in my situation, or our situation, that's a shared story, are on the run. They're on the run. And that means we can get our work back now. And one thing Stephen discovered from Yisimal Productions, he discovered just the other day, it's brilliant, blow away, that they have changed the copyright regarding immortals at the Copyright Office. Now, that is one of the most criminal things you can do. It shows that the Copyright Office is in bed with the agencies and Hollywood, and we can sue the U.S. Copyright Office for being in the casino.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
That's amazing. So change is happening.
And
sorry, and Bets, I just wanted to say, this was in Kitwe. The place the exactly the town that Bets is talking about.
Yeah,
was in Kitwe.
Very good.
But see, beautiful simplicity. Yeah.
So what's just happened is they were so desperate, not to negate that, but so desperate that they did the Copyright Office that's supposed to safeguard creative works created a criminal, one of the most criminal things you can do. It's like, it's worse than burning books. So it just showed how deep the deep state is in stripping what might be influential from benevolent, from all of us that are benevolent creators, and how they view us as property and assets for the state, like we talked about, and they don't care. So we're about to reconstitute our whole world into where it will be focusing on ways to lift each other, to establish the value for each other, and to where that is not the case right now. It's bankrupt, but it's going to change. I mean, you have change, reaction, and it's like the good people are rising up to make this a better world. We get this life and with loved ones, and we're not going to let them rip it out of our hands. It's like what happened on my page. It struck me that we can create a safe place. We can expand that safe place, and in time we can make it globally. And it's like, that's where we're going. One of the things I also learned, which is just chilling when you think about it, we are fed our political views through the media, right? We're often spoon-fed them. Get this, and I'm not taking sides on anything when I say this. I just want to illustrate what's going on, how big a picture it is. What's the security force for Israel? Is it Mossad? Is that it? Joel Silver, one of the worst people on the planet, who stole my material and has stole from many people. His security team is Mossad agents. So you've got Israeli agents protecting the worst man in the world who steals creative work, who's working for the agencies. So is there a good country out there? Think of it. They're all playing the game. It's the people that matter. And look how they make us look at the countries and go, China is bad, and Russia's bad, and US is good, and England's good, and Australia. I say there is a lot of bad people in the US, a lot of bad people in China, a lot of bad people in Israel, a lot of bad people all over the place. And there's a lot of good people in all these different countries. And we got to break that mentality of us against them. And what we can do is we're going to discover soon that there is, just like our pages can be safe and nurturing, there is groups in every single frickin' country that have safe places and good hearts. And we got to get out of the controlled puppet show where we're thinking it's us nation against that nation. To hell with nationalism. To hell with it. And the agencies and the media spooning this into us. It's not about it's about,
it's so interesting.
You know.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Just on the show before you, I was talking to Alice Parola, and we were exactly talking about this, as you know, the whole division that happens in war, because it's really not the people. I mean, those guys shooting at each other would, under any normal circumstance, probably be having drinks in the pub with each other, right?
Yeah.
If they were traveling in a free world, sort of, that's, you know, they would have no reason to hate. We've been bred to hate. Hatred has been installed in us. So that's the first way to divide, is through hatred.
It is our nature to be good. And they say that's naive. It is not. What happened in World War I in Belgium? What happened in World War I? The young men in Germany, in the trenches, in England, in America, in the trenches, despite their officers, they got together and started celebrating Christmas together. They came out of their trenches and celebrated together. And the officers, damn them all, got them back to fighting by ordering artillery to fire on them. They were done fighting. Why is it wrong to decide not to kill our fellow human beings? Why is it wrong to disobey orders and say, I'm not going to shoot the person that I don't know over there? I hear so many service people say, and they said it in World War II and other places, that they became friends after the war with German and English and American, you know. And
I mean, there's stories where these guys used to drink together at night in some of these pubs, like the Germans and the Allies. Now, whether it happened or not, I don't know, but I've definitely heard stories like that. And then the next day they're shooting at each other again. So I don't know.
the trauma
Crazy.
that these people go through. The
Yeah.
I'm watching documentaries later too, and even in Band of Brothers, it's like they're saying that they would have been friends with these other people. They would have been friends. I would love to go to young men and women when a war is declared, and just what would I be thought of? What would people think of me if in our nations if I went up to them and said, "Don't do it, don't kill each other"? I'd be considered a traitor. But it's our nature not to kill each other. It's our nature to find a way to solve the problem that we can live in harmony. Why are we marching off to war all the time? It's not
Exactly.
needed anymore. It's not needed. And it's just, oh my God. I'm just so sorry that, you know, and the people that hold the strings in power right now are using political means in all kinds of ways. And these tactics are being used on U.S. citizens by the U.S. agencies to create little wars in this country among people. This
has been going on forever, though, Tom. It's, you know,
I know it has.
And I also just remember, and I've said it before in one of the recent shows. I don't think it was this one, so if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me. But there was, she's in the 80s. It was a well-known fact, and this guy's an American guy. He wrote the book called The Economic Hitman. I don't remember his name, but he was actually interviewed on some of the South African television programs when he was here. And he spoke about how he was one of the people, in fact, how these guys are sent by the American government to the African countries to corrupt the leaders. And those that do not want to be corrupted, they pretty much see their end. And if we're just looking and just in this pandemic time, and the last I read was there were 17 African leaders that mysteriously died because of, well, the zappity-do. I don't know if I can even say that, or not complying, put it that way. But, you know, so they were not in agreement with that. So these guys literally, you know, we know just this continent, right, that is considered a third world continent, although it is the richest continent, I do believe, as well as so many other third world countries. The way that the West has strong-armed the third world countries into usurping their resources. And it's not just America. America is well known for coming into the African countries where they want their resources, creating this third force and creating war. And in so doing, they've now got to come in and do the peacekeeping. Russia has done it differently. Russia has come in with the comrades long ago. All our African Mkontwe Sizwe, which is the military wing of the ANC, they're all trained by the Russians and the Cubans, those guys many moons ago. You know, China, of course, has come in and pretty much owns Africa now. And Russia's back in here again. You know what I'm saying? So the superpowers, I think when we're looking at the entities that govern this, the entities that govern these superpowers, the three superpowers, right, would be obviously the ones that are the most manipulated. And they're the ones that are most manipulated to do the stuff. It's not the people. It's the entities that are in power. And that's what we should never actually lose sight of, because we tend to side with our countrymen. We tend to side with the people that we think align with our values. Just because they align with certain values doesn't mean they align with all of our values. And just because that person doesn't align with that value doesn't mean it's not going to align with that value. So we have to keep an open mind and not allow ourselves to be so segregated and divided by this nonsense. And the more we see that, the less they have the grip, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I like Simona. I hope I said your name right. Oh, with your comment about your grandfather is beautiful. And I was writing some film treatments about two armies coming together and in this war, and they decide to not fight anymore. So they go away, they travel away, and both governments try to destroy them, but they're not going to fight anymore. It's like a battlefield where both sides decided, we're not going to do this. We're not going to kill each other. We're going to leave. They can have their own war. And what the response of the two countries, the South and North, was to hunt these guys down. They became a priority to kill them, destroy them, because they don't want that influence of peace. We can solve problems if the right people who are not narcissistic hold the reins of governance. We can have it where we can declare peace on each other. And you're looking at masses of people that I believe, if they're appealed to properly, we don't have to have these stupid corporation enriching wars for Hal Burton and the rest of them.
Absolutely.
We don't need to have it. We don't need to have it. I would love to see the arms industry go bankrupt, lose money hand and fist. I would like to see that, because my mind right away is when I wrote my screenplay and that they were drunk on it. I mean, Hollywood is like, oh, this is something cool. We don't understand it, but it's cool. Oh my God. That was to influence our world not to fight. And that's why the Mossad with Joe Silver and the other Zionists and things like this, the mafia, they all did not want religious right, did not want that work being done the way it was originally written, because it was too influential, that it made it clear that we don't have to fight. We can be coming together and not fight. It can be a thing of the past. Once we realize we're not bound as nations, and so that's why, I'm not preaching one world order. We're heading that way. And the screenplay was basically, I was saying back in that, when it was written back in 1998, 1989, 1990, 91, my premise was basically that if there's going to be a one world order and we can't stop it, maybe we can change it so it's a good one. And now they're talking about that. Well, that was written way back then, along with Neuralink and everything else. So The thing is, we are ready as a species to put war in the past. We are ready as humanity to be done with wars. We're ready. And it's got the elite so upset, they're creating wars. They want us to keep thinking that way because they'll lose money. They're going to lose a lot of money. We have in place that we will not need the pharmaceutical corporations. We have the ability to heal our bodies. We have the ability for longevity. We've got the ability not to hate each other and go and tear each other apart. My sight was peaceful, and we could feel it was tangible for anybody in the audience that or with us in the chat. If you were part of that chaos that went on in my site just this week, as soon as the players were removed, there was peace. Now they use other names to come back on and cause trouble, but each time they're gone, there's peace. We can do that in the world, but they don't want that. Then I found out these players that were very organized on my site are with the FBI. They are with the FBI. And what they did was this. They came on and they did this. Because I watched this guy on a program. He was on Imagination Podcast. And he was talking about how he's connected to the agencies. He's got paranoid schizophrenic. He's connected to the agencies. And they use these clowns and employ them. And they feel all important by being employed. So he comes on, and what does he do? What's my one thing I cannot tolerate most that I'll react to? A woman being abused on my site. A friend who's a female. What do you come on right away and do and swinging right out of the gate? What do you do right away? Right away, he comes on my site. I didn't know who he was, out of the blue. And he had been tracking me because he went on the same podcast I was on, Emma's show. And he appeared on Emma's show when I was on there, begging for attention. I didn't know who he was. And so what happened was, here I am on my site, and I'm watching this guy suddenly come out of nowhere, saying to the woman on my site, who's a friend, "You are filth." And Tom's an idiot. So they're going to get a reaction from me. The FBI works on this premise. Get a reaction, call them crazy. hit where it hits the most. Abuse a woman on my channel. And I reacted. And that guy went off and on and on. He is a foul mouth. He is a monster. He is a monster. But he had a sidekick that was with him. And this is how the FBI works too. That's supposed to talk to you about making it peaceful and he's gone through a lot and everything. So he can keep coming back and spin the wheel. And it worked this time. I left him on my side for a bit. And I shouldn't have listened to the sidekick. Right. And then what the sidekick will do after they're like saying, you guys gotta get along, you gotta get along on your site, they'll go, I can't be involved anymore, I can't handle it anymore. You're both acting childish. They try to pull you down to their level. So now I've established that I'm just gonna cut these people right away, but they'll keep coming back. And then I find out that friends of mine had been harassed by these very same people, this very same group. And there's a parallel group called Immortals Remnant. They picked my name of my screenplay, Immortals Remnant, which I say is what I'm hoping, see God's going to gather, and put it together. And their job is to do as much damage and stop interviews with me. This is what's happening to other people who are coming forward with truth that could have influence. The agencies are employing failures who pose as homeless as a group to knock you down. And you watch how they'll appear on your chat or in the comments later when you post your shows, because now it's what's going to go on. And they're supposed to hit you for anything. And they'll come at you and they'll contact hosts. Don't use them. Don't use them. Don't use them. A lot of us are going through this right now. That is the FBI. That's what the FBI is doing. That's their tactic, right? So that guy that they put on my site that abused a friend of mine, Misty, and I'd react the same way again when this is done. They know that. I will. What was interesting is he's on Imagination podcast, and I taped it. And he's on there going, I hear voices, and I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, and I do drugs, and I was caught with a handgun. I've caused harm on people, yeah. And I sold drugs, and what's his story? We're supposed to feel bad for this guy? So anyway, that's FBI implanted. And I'll call them out. I'm going to call them out. I'm not going to have, if he continues to do what he's doing, I'm going to play that tape.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a rollover anymore. But my site's going to be peaceful. I'm not going to allow friends of mine to be abused. If comments are negative, they're going to get struck. But that's how the FBI is working. They're not working in the interest of the people. They're not working for peace. They're working for their own agenda. And when you consider that congressman is an FBI that handles my sister, gives her all the rewards, she brags about it, changed her into a monster, is FBI. A congressman who's FBI? It's all going to turn around, and I am going to be a watchman on it too. I'm not going to let this go on. I am going to be hammering down on trolls and people who, and they get what is interesting is the FBI approach these guys. They brag about being approached by the FBI, and they feel all important and powerful. So the FBI does this. They pick losers who failed at everything they did, go and see them. We want you to do a job for us. And they brag right away. They go, oh, the FBI talked to me for 2 and 3 hours. They talked to me on a Saturday for 3 hours. Oh my God. That's so, and they did. There was a lady who was a host that did like 5 shows with me. Her name was Teresa or Terry Joyce. And she did all these shows. We was going to do it again. She said she was getting harassed and all this stuff. Then she sends me a message. The FBI talked to her, and she turned on me completely. She felt very important, empowered, and she became nasty ever since. And it's like, that's what the FBI does. They look for your people who will be willing to have power, narcissists, and sick people, even mentally ill, and use them in a group to attack. I think that tactic needs to be realized. And the best way we can handle it is call these people out, block them immediately. If they make negative comments, strike the comments, and have a place of peace. They're there just to disrupt. Another tactic they'll do is they'll wait till your threads have run on your, like if you do a show, they'll wait till all your comments are done, and they'll try to be the last comment, putting just all the talking points. Talking points for me applied are delusional. Go watch it. He lost his case. He's an angry guy. Um, uh, I lost track of them all. It's like they have this shopping list that they have, and they'll apply. You'll watch all these points applied. So it's like, yeah, and that's their job, they'll say. So I think it's important to understand the tactics, and this microcosm of our own, sites and shows is being acted worldwide. The same tactics are used by Mossad, CIA, FBI, and they call it brick. What's it called? Brickman. There's this thing called Brickman where their attorneys did it on me, where they harass and hit you hard and go to the extreme and try to force you to back down. And it's called bricking or something. I forget what it's called, but the agencies use that term. And they even the analysts that were analyzing the Israeli thing said they're doing that very thing too. You push it to the extreme. You do so much harm, so much harassment, so much damage that you scare the person into being silent. And that's a big tactic too. It needs to be illegal, completely illegal. Well, it is illegal. But when you go to the fact that the Copyright Office struck our entries, we've got them. Just think of it real quick. Suing the U.S. Copyright Office, taking the U.S. Copyright Office to court, along with the Hollywood agencies and the FBI, with the proof we have that they did this. That's going to be a popcorn show. And believe me, the team I have and who we are, we can handle it. We know the game and we know the playbook all out. I can't wait to call these clowns out. I can't wait. Their problem is they always brag. They always brag about the illegal stuff they do. My family members do it. These guys that appeared on our site do it. And I will do my utmost best to protect people from this guy. And what's interesting is he appears on this podcast, the Imagination Podcast, with his face blurred out and a modulator for his voice. He is a nobody. A guy from Tennessee who's a nobody, an angry, bitter little guy. But he wants to make it look like he's some massive, secretive guy where I have to be blacked out in order that you don't know who I am. I did research on him. If you tweak my nose, I'll research you. And I'm going to turn it back on them. So his name is David. He's from Tennessee. I could tell you the town. Blacks his face out, voice modulator. Why would you use a voice modulator and black your face out if you're talking about your whole life story on the air? Don't you think the agencies would draw attention if you were actually somebody that mattered, that they would see you blacking your face out, voice modulator, while you're talking about everything you ever did in your life? I think you don't need the modulator. I think you just revealed exactly who you are. The stupidity of the agencies is unreal. The stupidity of the people they pick, like Sophia Stewart, is unreal. And you listen to the what's on the top.
She blocked out my screen with her boobies.
I know, with this big sunglasses, I'm gonna look like I'm rich. So make them bigger, make them bigger. It's like, so what I'm saying is, we are gonna win all this because the other side is dumb as dirt. And that guy with a voice modulator, he has attacked so many people. His name is David from Tennessee. He gave me his phone number. And he's going to stop harming people. He needs to be in the mental hospital on medication. Because he said on the air, that's no problem for me to say it. He said on the air, I got it taped. I am a paranoid schizophrenic. I hear noises. He said it, not me. He said it. And if he continues to harm people, I'm going to play that over and over and over. Because it's his words. His words. Yeah. Enough harming people I know, and especially enough harming women. Enough. You don't do that around me. So my site's going to be safe. I'll keep striking these things. There's a guy named George Bailey suddenly appeared on my site and started hammering away at me. I'm like, and all I did was I wrote this. I wrote, George, you're not a good fit for my site here. All you're doing is raging. So goodbye, George. And I blocked him.
Yeah, George has been one of our trolls for a long time as well.
They need to get away.
We don't even give them energy. They obviously
they want to matter. I come down to this. I think it's this, Shanti. I think they want to matter and the only way they can matter is doing harm. But I can't tell you how many people have come to me, and messaged me about this one little group harming them. I don't like it. You don't harm loved ones. And my friends are my loved ones, and I consider family. Anybody that stays on my page and stays with my story is a loved one. And I will not stand by as a man and watch them harmed. If you mess with
Yeah.
my friends, I'm gonna make it hard for them. I've already dealt with the agencies, and we're gonna win this thing. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, I thanks for letting me explain all that, because the other side, take heart, anyone, that the agencies, CIA, FBI, Pentagon, are stupid as dirt in a bucket. They really are not smart, and arrogance has caused them to be that way. Their playbook is an easy read. It's not smart, it's dumb, and they can't outthink us. And one of the stupidest things they did was to take on a writer who wrote visionary work that they don't understand, that they're fans of. That's pretty dumb, because I could figure it out. I was tested high and analytical, and I have a heart and compassion, and I don't like loved ones to suffer. So CIA, FBI, even after all you did to me and my family, you are dumb as dirt. I'm not going to be afraid of you. I'm going to call you out. We're going to reveal you legally. Legally. I don't harm people. I'm not like them. But I'll
Yeah.
reveal butts in the courts.
You know what's beautiful, you know, I mean, if we look at all of these tales of what have you, these guys at the end of the day, they implode upon themselves. Really, they do.
Mhm.
You give someone enough rope, they're going to hang themselves, and that's truly, and the way that it's done, as I was saying earlier, we really just have to connect, tune in, pray, have faith, you know, reconnect with ourselves, with our communities, our families, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
And in so doing, we bring it all to the fore.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yeah, sure.
All these different agents that are employed, they do go through this questioning if they'll be loyal to putting their feelings in the freezer, this kind of stuff. One of their biggest weaknesses, and that's why they shouldn't be in charge of government situations. You should get benevolent people in charge. You should get people with compassion. Your actual visionaries should be in charge. Agencies get a clue, because now they hire a lot of artists, but their weakness is arrogance, the ego. When you have an ego and arrogance, that will fill your mind and your soul. When you have that arrogance, you'll brag about what you're getting away with. And they do it all the time. A lot of the stuff that Steve and I, the rest of us, are going to come forward with in the courts to win with is from what they were bragging about. Bragging about what they did, what they leaked, what they had. And we simply sniffed it out and got it. Now we have all the evidence because they were bragging. They bragged about what they did to throw our case. Keep bragging, guys. Keep hiring the egos. It's like that. Yeah.
That really is, you know, it's so indicative of their level of consciousness, really, at the end of the day, because it's all about what I have, how much I have, who I was seen with, who I did it with, whatever the case might be, on a very superficial level.
Yes.
And that's exactly what's going to be the crumbling or the cause of that castle, so to speak, crumbling. Because when you built on inner strength, you know, I always say, when the roots grow deep, there's no need to fear the wind. So when your roots are connected and you're stable and you're strong, a hurricane can blow your leaves and your blossoms, but you will grow and you stay connected, you stay in tune no matter what, right? And that's exactly.
Yeah, I've never felt stronger. I feel so good. I feel good. You know why I feel so good? Is because I'm standing up for good people. I'm standing for loved ones. I'm going to reveal the rotten. So many people are afraid of these guys. These guys are nothing. They're messed up guys in diapers. They really are nothing. This guy, David from Tennessee, is a nobody. I researched him. He's looking for attention. And he's harmed so many people. And that's why I draw the line when he harms so many people that contacted me. And if anybody wants to know about my page, it's on Twitter. Find me on Twitter. Join me there. And watch me put my money where my mouth is. Because I'm going to protect people. I want a safe place where people can celebrate, lift each other. And I love strong, happy, classy people. I love people that are compassionate and caring. And I think we're allowed to create spaces like that. They had this one clown get on and say, you don't have control of your site. You won't have site because it's public domain. Yeah, right. That's why they allow me to block you. Moron, blocked. It's like, no. These guys are all about wanting power. At the end of the day, they're going to find out power was nothing. And what is their power? When it comes down to it, they want attention. And it's like, the argument could be said, well, don't give them attention. No, they don't like to be revealed and they don't like to be embarrassed. They spend so much time harming others. And I have a good gift for embarrassing people. I have humor and I will use my humor. I'll parry to them. How many times have I imitated certain people? And they hate that. Well, I'm going to do it. So anybody that messes with loved ones or things like that, I'll mock you. I'll mock you publicly and I'll imitate you and I'll show your diapers and you will be revealed. And you might want to think twice because I'm good at it. And as far as this David guy, I got your little clip of you saying you're a paranoid schizophrenic and harming people. That's going everywhere if you continue to harm any more friends that I care about. Back off, loser. Don't harm people. Go back in your little hole and suck your thumb. Done with the trolls. They don't deserve our attention or energy, but I'm going to act the way that scares them and makes them back off. I'm going to act not scared, but I'm going to make them embarrassed. If you want to break the cabal, embarrass their players. And I'm good at parody, sarcasm, you name it. I'm going to embarrass them. And they got to know it because they want to feel important and puffed up. Every time they make a negative comment, they want to feel like, oh yeah, powerful. I'm going to show them I'm going to show their D players back to their hole where they came from. And let's see if it works. We'll do it as an experiment. See if I succeed in this. I'm pretty good at it.
No, I've no doubt you will, Tom. No doubt about that whatsoever.
Nobody hurts.
Just again, it's so good to. It's a good reminder. We talk about a lot on not just your show, but other shows that I do as well. About the tactics that are used and the lengths that these guys go to get what they want. They're really going to stop at nothing. The only thing that's going to stop them is you yourself, you. And that is going to be basically through your connection with God and through your strong belief and really serving the right side. There's the light side, there's the dark side, and then there's the right side, right? We on this channel, we serve the right side, not as in right and left, but as in the proper. And, we get to that place of understanding that through doing the inner work we need to, coming to the realizations we need to, and then acting on that in the world around us. So that's how we get out of the matrix. That's how these guys can no longer have their claws in us, is when we've understood that. It's like, think about them being the swamp, right? It's always referred to as the swamp. And they've got their claws into you, right? It means you've got a part of you in the swamp. Can only be that way. So as you raise your frequency, become happier, do the things that make you joyful, it's like now you become a bird and you're flying above that and the crocodile can't get you. And you have to become the bird. That's what the whole objective is here. Through faith, through...
What's interesting too is I'm starting to talk a lot about what real men are and what a genuine man is. We've lost that in our society often. Lost it a lot. And so what I'm celebrating is being a man in the sense of what is a man? What should a man do? I believe a man's to protect, encourage, have compassion, be strong, and fend off losers. And so I'm going to enjoy being a man and protecting good people and innocence. And I'm going to do it by embarrassing those. I won't be in their swamp, that's for sure. I'm going to be far above them. and I'm going to enjoy being far above them, up eye to eye with all the other people I love. And we'll let them wallow in their little muddy puddles with their little diapers on, and I'm going to call them out. And you know what? They can't stand it. If you want to, I have seen that so many times where these guys will prey upon who they pick their weakest targets. They prey upon who they think won't harm them because they're cowards. But when someone comes along, man, as a man, they'll run. They'll suddenly become like, there's this great scene in Tombstone with Mel Gilmer and those guys, I love the scene where you have this guy going in there being tough, slapping around customers in the saloon, slapping around, and then comes the one guy from Tombstone, right? Val Kilmer's friend. And he comes in, and the guy goes like, "What are you looking at?" It's like, "Looking at you." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Go ahead and draw." And he goes like this to his face. It's like, and the guy's like, suddenly he's not so tough anymore. So he's like, "Yeah," again. Throws him out of the bar. The thing is, it works. When you stand up as a man to a cowardly person, anybody attacks a woman is coward. You stand up to them, you can stop the whole thing. Peace is restored. And I'm going to do that on my site too. I'm going to restore peace by knocking them down. I am not going to have them hurting loved ones. We shouldn't all just be standing back like going like this. It's like when you stand up to them, watch their true colors. They're small people. If they're attacking innocent people, they look for the most innocent targets so they can look tough.
Yeah. It's really, when you're looking at like the playground bully, really never ends, or that scenario never really ends, does it? It just gets carried on.
Unless a man or a strong woman. I had a situation where my one daughter, well, she got estranged from me through the guys taking her and reprogramming her. But before when she was little, she was getting picked on by all these kids in the neighborhood in the front yard, right? She was in tears. And she came in the house, and the person that was the wife at the time said, "That's just the way it is, honey." I said, "Well, it doesn't have to be. Come on, Terrace, let's go outside." So I went outside, and they're just waiting to pick on her again as soon as she came out. So I said, "Okay, guys, come over." And all these kids came over. I said, "Who doesn't like Terrace? Who doesn't like Terrace?" So I don't. Okay, you're not coming. Throwing a party. You're not coming. You're not coming. Okay, don't ever come in this yard again, loser. Okay, who is it? And then suddenly all the kids were like, they love Terrace. You can make a difference. You can make it so the climate changes and make it so that it's not so fun to be a bully anymore. Bullies can switch. If they feel the game is up, the gig is up, and they're not going to be popular. You can embarrass a bully. An embarrassed bully, all the power is gone. It's gone. That's their biggest fear. So yeah. Anyway, and then they can get a better life. So yeah. I think it's time for men to find our real roles in life again. Protect, nurture, courage, strength, be an example, take it as an opportunity to stand up for others that are innocent. Take it as an opportunity to encourage a young child and protect them, not exploit them. Take it as an opportunity to let a woman know she's safe around you. Yeah. I think people can appreciate that. So I'm going to gravitate to anyone who is harmful. And I will use the skills God gave me to help them make a different decision. And maybe take the diapers off, put on some real pants. And you won't have to blur your face anymore and use a voice modulator. You can actually show your face because you're just not that important. But you can be important by having a little more compassion for humanity. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about all of us. Anyway, thank you for letting me say this today, because this is one of my callings, one of my roles, and I encourage other men to stand up too. Any man who's jealous of another man is weak. Any man who celebrates another man, when you were talking about Caleb, I'm like, yeah, this is great. I'm excited you're excited about Caleb. These other guys I know would be like, what about me? He's like, oh, no. No attention for me. And it's serious. That's how a lot of guys have been rendered through the decades. They've been reduced down to whiny little LA guys that need to be their ego fed and look important. And all these guys want to be the alpha dog. It's like,
Yeah.
time to find your core and center. And I know a lot of my friends are this already. Time to find our cores where our feeding of who we are comes from doing good and protecting the innocent and lifting, and being a gentleman. If that feeds us, I'm not looking around at other guys going like, oh my God, they might get more attention than me. No, I'm happy with who I am. And I am very excited to do the other thing, which is encourage people, lift people. And I'm going to do that on my site, public domain or not, whatever that guy was talking about. And I'm going to enjoy every time I say a bye-bye to somebody with diapers. So, yeah. So anybody that's out there, join me on my site. Let's practice a new world way. And
when you say your site, you mean Twitter?
Twitter right now. Yeah, that's the one right now that I'm really dealing with. And it's like, I just love it. And you know what's really nice is many people have been stepping up and they've been giving scriptures. And that really gets me. When the scripture is given and it fits, it's just like, wow, how powerful is the word of God? How powerful when it's shared that way, and the beauty when it's shared and it matches, it's just, So if you could see me when I'm not, on a Twitter account responding, I'm like, many times I tear up. And that's another thing for guys too. You hear me talk about this a lot, that tears are strength. Tears are the ability to feel. And if you can feel as a man, you've just outdistanced all those different men that are tearing people down, because you can feel.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be edifying yourself. Anyway, I didn't expect I'd be talking about that, but this is how you defeat the tactics. Like you guys said, prayer, standing together, and nothing, like when I was a child, nothing meant more to me as a child than someone that actually saying no to abusers and maybe take me aside. And I felt so safe in that moment. That might have been one rare moment where I just felt like, wow, that speaks so much that they cared. And I'm going to give that back now. I'm going to give that back. So, yeah, thanks for this. Thanks for that.
Lovely, Tom. Enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks for that. It's such a beautiful site. You guys are so amazing. I love the comments. And God, this is such a great life because you guys are in it. And that's true. Yeah. It's like we're finding our tribe. We're finding our beautiful people. I can't wait to do the classes. And I'll learn from people by doing the classes. And it's going to be great. And we tell our stories and we get to meet face to face. And it's going to be cool. It's going to be really, really cool. I so look forward to it. And,
indeed.
Yeah.
One thing that day will come, I have no doubt, we will all have a reunion somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully on African soil. It's always cool, yeah.
I have one
hope. Warn you guys won't want to go back.
I won't want to go back. I know I won't want to go back. I don't. But one homework assignment I have for people, and I'd like to know if anybody's already done this. Write down your greatest moments, your successes, your most brilliant moments, and make it into a list, your success list, and review it. Look at it different times. It'll help. I venture that it will help challenge you to have more. It'll also help protect you from the negative, because you'll see that you made good choices. And that'll create a foundation. I'm just offering this as a thought. I'm sure many people have done this already. But have your success list and write it whatever you want of all your beautiful moments that you took a chance, had that bravery, and you did something, you stepped up, you helped somebody, you saw the results of it, you did something that you never thought you could do before, and you came through. And let your souls feel that again. Let you relive it. Have the feeling of it again. And have it by your bedside that you're ready to look at it any time. And that's you. That's you. So have your finest moments, review your finest moments, and then go get some more. And that's how we can also stay
It's so true what you said, something that was quite profound. Just because if you do something like that and you read it also in those downtimes or whatever, it reminds you of the good choices you did make and of the good things that did happen in your life. And as we know, as the Buddha says, this too shall pass.
Right.
Everything passes, positive and negative. You can't get stuck in anything. Yeah.
And it's going to be fun to share those lists. I look forward to hearing other people's lists. I want to hear your finest moments. It goes right back to that library of memories with the finest moments, right?
Yeah.
So let's lift that, and we'll get farther away from the swamp, like you said, farther higher up together. So I can't wait to hear people's successes and the stories of the elderly, like you said.
Yeah,
that's going to be
absolutely.
Schedule that call-in show if you can. I would love to. I can't wait to hear. Give a little time zone, and then hear the. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. All right. Thanks, Shanti.
Oh, very cool. Okay, guys and girls, thank you so much for joining us again on Tremendous Tom Tuesday, whatever it is. We were Tom on a Tuesday. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Yes.
Really enjoyed the chat, Tom, and look forward to having you back next week again. So everybody, God bless you all. Take good care of yourselves. Please like, share, subscribe. These are the types of conversations that really need to be getting out there. So have a great rest of your week. I will see you. Jesse's not here this week.
Okay.
I will see you. I've got Bryce on tomorrow night and same time as what I have, Tom, hour earlier. And then Thursday's Caleb at 6 o'clock again, as well as Kerry Saint of Australia, talking about the adoption. She's an amazing advocate for the adoptees, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And our topic will be lost fathers, because through so many of these forced adoptions, the fathers, despite the mother's pain, there's fathers whose voices have not been heard in these stories either, which is very, very interesting. So tune in with Kerry Saint on Friday, and then again with Caleb on Sunday, Caleb Jade. That I think is our program for the week, but watch the space and we'll keep you updated. Everybody, God bless you. Take good care. And again, thank you so much to all our Patreons and to all the ones who donate and look after us on our channel. Really appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Joey vibes.